Hello everyone, how's it going? So we have more layoffs happening in the gaming industry from Microsoft, and it's 9,000 jobs that are being let go with layers of management being cut through. So here from Variety Magazine, Microsoft is scraping two common video games, a reboot of Perfect Dark and the fancy title Everwild, which was an MMO by Rare. In addition to ending development on several unannounced projects, it's also shutting down Perfect Dark Studio The Initiative. Following the rumors of the reduction that began last week, Microsoft is set to lay off more than 9,000 employees worldwide Wednesday, including some of Microsoft Game and Xbox division. Variety has confirmed the number of staff impacted is under 4% of Microsoft's global workforce, which totals approximately 228,000 employees. So we continue to implement organizational and workforce changes that are necessary to position the company and teams for success in dynamic marketplace. To position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas, we will end or decrease work in certain areas of business and follow Microsoft's lead to removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness, Microsoft Chief Phil Spencer said in a memo to staff Wednesday morning. Out of respect for those impacted today, the specifics of today's notification and any organizational shifts will be shared by your team leaders in the coming days. Additional details regarding Microsoft's layoffs. So, yeah, look, this is not a good look. Microsoft has been purchasing studios left and right, such as when they purchased Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. The FTC stepped in, but that eventually just went nowhere. So they own some of the biggest IPs in entertainment: Call of Duty, Doom, Halo. They own King, I believe, at this point, but they own so many money makers that what I see that they're doing right now is trying to get a return on investment for a lot of these studios. One of the most infamous examples of them not doing that would be when they shut down Tango Gameworks despite Hi-Fi Rush being such a commercial and critical success. It was like game of the year for a lot of people, but eventually Krafton did come out and save the studio where they purchased it. These are the people, I believe, who do PUBG and the Callisto Protocol, which I believe that game is dead because, let's face it, of how that happened. As for the Perfect Dark game, well, this was, I can only show a small snippet of this. I'll probably get copyright claimed, but basically this was the game, and it looked okay. Like, it looked like, to me, an updated version of Perfect Dark Zero in the Xbox 360, and even though the gameplay looked adequate, a lot of people were not happy with the new character design. I don't know if they're going to show her here, but I'm pretty sure you can Google her image, and let's just face it, the character for, oh, here it is. Yeah, right here, Joanna Dark, she did not look good. Like, even here, I'm just like, what were they thinking with this character model? It made absolutely no sense. But yeah, despite that, the gameplay was very positively received, but nevertheless, the studio was shut down and they're no longer working on it, which means Perfect Dark is likely going to go back into the IP chamber with Banjo-Kazooie. So, and on top of it, Rare's Everwild has been cancelled, which this was a game that's been in development, I believe, since 2017. And understandably, if I was Microsoft and that was a game that was in development for 5+ years and nothing came of it, yes, it's an MMO, which is a lot more work than a single-player game, but nevertheless, yeah, you're gonna have to show something for it. Like, first reported by Jason Schreier, confirmed by insider gamer sources, the decision to cancel Everwild comes from Microsoft. It's letting in roughly 9,000 people. That includes a number across. Oh, we already read that. They don't say how many people have worked on this game, but I remember that it was 2017 or then when this game was first announced, and it just went nowhere. And now Greg Mayles, who was the director of Banjo-Kazooie and Sea of Thieves, leaves Rare after all of this. So if you're worried about the future of Xbox, all the games that were showcased in June's showcase are apparently safe, but I'm not holding my breath. At this point, I believe anything's on the chopping block, unless you're like Gears of War or Halo. You're not in a good place. Like, Fable's been in development hell for how many years, and the first thing that comes to many people's image when it comes to Fable is that woman, which, yeah, not exactly the good image of a game that's supposed to be a fantasy-based title. But nevertheless, what I think that Microsoft is doing here is they're just cutting managerial positions that they feel are unnecessary. Like, I don't know how many of you watch like YouTube channels from older developers who worked on games like Fallout, Final Fantasy, Halo. A common theme among them when it's talking about development before and development in the modern day is that there is bloat to everything. Like there's too many managers, too many red tape. Instead of going over to another person and talking to them about the issue, and suddenly that's seen as unnecessary harassment and stuff like that. At least that's what they are conveying within YouTube videos and all that. I can't find the video for the life of me from the original Fallout creator, but I remember he was saying how you could just go and talk to people about major issues that were happening and they would be resolved just like that. But nowadays there's always so much red tape that prevents them from just going and telling people, hey, you screwed up with this, can you fix it? And there's also the bloat when it comes to studios across the world. It's what happened with Battlefield 2042. If you remember that, the game was developed by so many studios across the world, different time schedules, language barriers, video communication. If someone's working across the world from you, they have a different sleep schedule. There's a lot of stuff that just causes the bloat in development. It's the same issues that I'm seeing with Battlefield. I believe they're calling it Battlefield 6, but I'm not sure. But it's the same things that they're reiterating when I saw those trailers. I was like, you guys are saying the same thing you said about Battlefield 2042, and look how that turned out. Same thing for Concord. Look how many, look at the credits for that game and how many people worked on that game that didn't even last 2 weeks. Assassin's Creed Shadows, which has been rated as one of the averages, I don't know, like it's the most mediocre Assassin's Creed game I've ever played, but in terms of the Assassin's Creed lore, it's definitely one of the bottom Assassin's Creed games, like really bad in terms of like if you should even play that game if you're an Assassin's Creed fan. And look how many people worked on that game. I would guarantee and put money that less people worked on like the Ezio trilogy, which is widely considered the best Assassin's Creed games ever made, like Brotherhood and Assassin's Creed 2 generally are the most favorite games within the game franchise. Same thing for Black Flag. I guarantee you less people worked on that, and somehow Assassin's Creed Shadows came out the way that it did. But that's how I'm seeing this, that Microsoft is looking at this stuff. They're seeing projects that are taking too long. They're not going anywhere. They're seeing the writing on the wall, because that's the other thing. Games are very expensive nowadays. Like, I know I constantly harp on that. A lot of people harp on that, but they're $70, $80, $90 sometimes where you only get the bare minimum game. And for many people, that game is supposed to satisfy them for the entire year. Even back when games were $60, I have friends and family who would only buy one game a year. It'd usually be the Call of Duty or the Madden title that they can play with their friends. And especially kids, where they can only get one game a year, usually for their birthday. They'll be lucky if they get another game for Christmas or so on. And now with games being $80, $90, with the hardware costing $400+, and now it's going even higher than that. And if you want the luxury of having a physical disc drive, which allows you to trade and share games with your friends, because that's what a lot of people do in order to offset the cost. They would go to their friend's house or their family's house and they'll say, hey, I have a copy of Halo Combat Evolved, I'll give you this and you let me play Final Fantasy 9, stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, I used to do that all the time. I would give my friend one of my games, and they'll give me one of their games. And now that's a luxury nowadays where you have to buy a separate disc drive, like with the PlayStation 5 Pro. I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but it all circles into here because it seems that they're becoming aware of this, because they're raising prices to the point that sales are taking a hit, but they keep raising prices, so now they have to cut jobs in order to look good for their stockholders, which just, it creates a cycle that makes no sense. It's always it's the idea of infinite growth. You know how Activision Blizzard constantly says we need more money, so they're doing like these crazy like cross promotions with Call of Duty, like they just did Beavis and Butthead, and now they're doing American Dad. At this point, they're literally scraping the bottom of the barrel. At this point, I won't be surprised if they have Freakazoid or Animaniacs as part of this. Granted, those are kids cartoons, but come on, this is Activision Blizzard. I'm sure, I don't know who owns those cartoons. It wouldn't be surprising if Disney owned those cartoons. Like, at this point, they're literally scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point for that franchise. And they constantly need more and more money to constantly make the line go up, as opposed to a company like, say, From Software, who's just like, hey, we work our way up to Elden Ring, then we kind of plateau, we make games like Night Rain and Armored Core 6 until we make another type of Elden Ring game, but we go up, we go down, we go up, and we go down. But they constantly want to go up, and the second you don't go up, faith is lost into your stockholders. But that's how I'm seeing this. I'm just seeing Microsoft just looking at this as a numbers game, and after they made all these purchases and the return on investment isn't what they expected, because their flagship franchise Call of Duty has not been doing well. Like, a lot of people dipped on Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Now they're already talking about Black Ops 7, even though they said they were going to take time to let the franchises cook so people can have time to breathe. And now they're already saying, oh, Black Ops 7 is going to be the best Call of Duty ever. I'm like, you just released Black Ops 6 with the Omni movement and all this stuff that you were going off about, and now Black Ops 7 is like, as much as I had fun with Black Ops 6, it was an average Call of Duty game. I really think that the franchise fell off after Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2. But that's how I'm seeing this. People are getting fatigued by playing the same games over and over, and then a game like Expedition 33 comes along and it just kickstarts everyone's video game drive. They're like, oh my god, this is what games used to be like during the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 era, where people would experiment with different titles. Even during the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One era, where we got games like Horizon and Death Stranding. Death Stranding 2 just came out for the modern day console, but you get what I'm saying. Like, they used to experiment more, and now people are just playing it safe. People are bored with it. They're not spending as much because games are now expensive, and it's resulting in this, just the snake eating itself at this point. But that's how I see this. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I honestly think that I feel like this is what you reap, what you sow. You took advantage of your customers, you overbought and you oversold, and now that you can't keep your head above water, now everyone has to suffer because of it. And it's just not looking good for anyone. Like, the indie scene is exploding. Let's face it, Arc Raiders looks awesome. I haven't played that yet because I didn't get invited to but that game actually looks way better than Marathon, which has been delayed indefinitely. And then we also had Stellar Blade, which was freaking amazing. I loved Stellar Blade, and that came from they did mobile titles before they did Stellar Blade, but Stellar Blade was literally, I was looking for a new Nier game for so long, and they just do more cross promotions for 2B and 9S and A2 rather than a brand new game, which really sucks. But I feel like more and more developers, like the people who did Stellar Blade and the people who did Expedition 33, they're the ones who are going to champion this industry. These are the people that people are going to give their money to, because they actually are giving gamers what they want. They're showing, hey, we can make something new or take something that's existing and give our own spin to it, and just focus on what gamers want. Because if you don't, it's just going to get worse. And if you're a company that overbuys and oversells your stockholders, this is just going to hurt even more, because trust is not going to be regained with your employees. Like, I can only imagine what the employees are like right now. Like, they probably are sending their resumes anywhere, which, despite the job market being on free fall right now, but working at Microsoft, it's probably not a safe bet anymore. But that's it for me. I rambled on long enough. Tell me what you think in the comments below about all of this. Love to hear other people's opinions. That's it for me. Bye.